Joining us now for insights on President Marcos's engagements at the World Economic Forum is UP economist Solita Monsod. Professor, thank you so much for joining us. What's your take on what Marcos Jr. said about the family's exile, saying it was the dark days not only of his family but also of the country? And he said that the family's survival required that somebody go into politics. So do you feel that he got into politics to work for the people or just protect the family's interests?
You know very well that I will say it's a second. I mean, it's to protect for the Filipino people. Come on. No, what I wanted to say is when the president said that it was dark days for the family and dark days for the country too. I don't know where it's coming from. Those were the glory days of the Philippines, when the Philippines showed the world that it could overthrow a dictatorship peacefully. Do you remember the Philippines' stock in the world was the highest it has ever been. So I don't know what he means by dark days. Number one. In other words, there seems to be a disconnect between reality and the Marcos version. It's very unsettling to me. All right. So that's it. And then when he says that he had to protect his father's legacy, or he had to make sure that the people were protected, or actually the family was protected, is he said that somebody should be in politics. And people in politics. But does it have to be the whole family? There's him, there's his sister, there's his son, there's his nephews, there's his cousins. They're all there, and they have been there ever since. So let's not talk about somebody has to be there to be in politics. I agree, somebody has to be there to be in politics, but not 7 or 8.
So 8 trips, Professor Monsod, in less than 7 months in office. Are these trips justified? Because 12.9 million Filipinos have become poorer, according to a latest survey. 3 million Filipino families are hungry. And our onions are, per kilogram, the most expensive in the world. So are these trips justified? Because they always say they have accumulated billions of dollars worth of pledges for the country.
I do not know of any president prior to Bongbong Marcos that has gone outside of the Philippines 8 times in 7 months or 6 months, and with nothing to show for it. What is there to show for it? I don't see it at all. And every time he goes on these trips, these are costly to the Filipino people. This particular trip is not even a government-to-government trip. This is a government to a non-government organization get-together. And he brings 18. There are 18 people in his official retinue. And that, whatever that much is, however costly that is, it cannot be justified, because let's take a look, Rico, huh? What value added does Sandro Marcos or Mark Villar or the four congressional members of the retinue, Martin Romualdez and his wife, and then there's Gloria Macapagal, and then there's Sandro Marcos. Those people could be gotten out of that delegation, and still the president would have survived, wouldn't he? Probably could not survive without Diokno or Pascual, because these are the people who know what the business is of the country.
Right.
And obviously the president needs somebody whispering into his ear or giving him notes or whatever. But there is no need for the finance deputy secretary. Bakit kailangan? The Deputy Secretary of Finance, andun, Deputy Secretary, ang daming 3 Deputy Secretaries, I think.
That's why there are some.
Maybe
That's why there are some groups who are asking for an investigation on the number of people who have joined this delegation, Professor. And the chief executive has also been promoting the Maharlika Investment Fund agenda when Congress hasn't even passed it into law. Is this the right thing to do, Professor Monsod?
keep that picture on the screen, please. Look at that. That's where no, the other picture, the one where there's 2 rows of people.
Yes.
Ay nako. That's where presents the Maharlika. How many people are there that listen to him? All the people on the left side are Filipinos. So there are people on the right side. They are probably listening and looking very bored at that. No? at most 20 people. All right. Let's give him patawad. 30 people were listening to him with his Maharlika fund. For that, he went to the Geneva. For that, he went to, and spent, I don't know, millions. I want to know exactly how much millions were spent and how much has been.
So Professor, you're asking for transparency. You're asking for transparency. How many have joined this Marcos Jr. trip to Davos, and how much they also spent in terms of overall cost?
Rico, ayan ang picture ng mga nakikinig sa kanya. Yung nasa left side, ayan lahat Pilipino. Ayan yung nasa right side. I-count mo yan nasa right side. If you can get 20, you're doing all right na. 20 people listening to him, espousing whatever he's espousing. Look at that picture.
So,
and for that, not 18 people with him. No naman, not 18, 17 people with him. Plus, of
Professor,
course, the mga entertainers, etc., that are going to entertain the mga overseas foreign workers or whatever it is. But as far as the official delegation was concerned, there are 18 of them. Ridiculous. It's not worth it. On the face of it, without even having to go through an investigation, or you look at the pictures and you will see how many people he was espousing that Maharlika investment fund. It's ridiculous. We are the laughing stock of the world. And people and you know who I blame also, Rico? I think the reporters that we sent, they did not even, none of them has I would have liked somebody to have interviewed one of these people who looked so bored listening to the president and say, what do you think of this? What are you going to do about it? Is your country or is your business going to invest? I have not heard that kind of a question from any of the people who are there with the president. And so the only feedback we get is from the president or from his people. And naturally, what do you think they were supposed to say? Sasabihin ba ng tao, wow, flop na flop ito? Hindi naman, hindi ba?
Right. Thank you so much, Professor, for your insights. We would have wanted to speak to you longer, but we've run out of time. Thank you so much for joining us on The Final Word. UP Economist Solita Monsod.